Well, hello there, YouTube. Um, this next one is about this age-old fight between the handgun calibers and what caliber is the best and the deadliest and that kind of stuff. And it's to me. It's ridiculous. Let me just state why it is ridiculous. The primary reason is that none of the calibers really provide anything over the others in terms of instant incapacitation. And let's just clarify that I'm speaking of armed conflict or confrontation in concealed carry situation, or even, well, if we're looking at a close quarter situation where we need to neutralize the opposite force instantaneously, then there is no difference between 9mm, 40, or 45. And you can go from there. Just list as many pistol calibers as you want, because the fact is that none of them really produces that much of a difference. And the reason I'm saying that is that instant incapacitation in humans happens only in 3 locations. So be heed. I will show a little diagram also here in a second. So instant incapacitation occurs in 3 locations. Number 1, brain. Hit, a solid hit, not grazing hit, but a solid hit to the brain area absolutely scrambles the signals, and the target will drop. Not necessarily dead by any means at that point, but absolutely out of the fight. Number 2, brainstem. That is actually the only location in human body that causes instant death. If we have a hit to brainstem, which is usually located straight behind, you touch the tip of your nose and go straight in. From that, inside there is the tiny little area called brainstem. You score a hit in that, and now we can actually call the only time that we can call an instant death occurs at that point, when the brainstem gets destroyed. So now the third one is upper spine, which is pretty much the length of the spine that protrudes above your shoulders and connects to the skull. If that part of the spine is severed, it causes immediate paralysis, quadriplegia, in all the extremities and parts of the body below it. So hence we can call it as an instant incapacitation location. I mean, if there are a lot of people who are saying, well, just get the solid COM hits, and if it hits the spine, or shoot a hip, the guy loses his legs. I really couldn't care less if my target or threat that is threatening me and my loved ones, or in the mission, is paralyzed waist down when his arms are working, and he can return fire and pull a pin from a hand grenade. It's just puzzling to me that people argue over the calibers when they argue over eventual lethality or eventual incapacitation, which occurs in center of mass hits for anywhere from about let's say 15-20 seconds to minutes, to hours, to days, even years. I mean, there are people who have died from injuries from gunshots years after they suffered them. Basically, there are complications, but nonetheless, yeah, the root cause was the hit from a projectile. Now, all that said, let's really look at this for real. And none of this old wives' tales and all that garbage. I'm tired of it because it doesn't play into anything except for eventual lethality and eventual incapacitation. Those who doubt me, please try just have a little stopwatch. Have one of your friends with a rubber knife or rubber bat that won't break your skull in or get you killed for real. Give them 15 seconds time to attack you with that training weapon and see how many hits they can score on you in that time. And that's the kind of time that it is highly possible for a person to have even in a solid heart hit. I mean, you can absolutely penetrate the heart with a round and have that person still have about 15 seconds to attack you. And the other thing is the psychological effect argument that, you know, for example, the classic wreck this shotgun and people will run, pull out the gun and they will run, shoot in the air and they will run. Yeah, please steer away from that. You are putting yourself in a horrible tactical situation in all those examples. For example, you rack your shotgun in your house in the nighttime and somebody is in your house. You already know that. You rack that shotgun and you just not only you identified where you are from the sound, but you just actually told the intruder exactly what you're armed with. Now, let's assume this intruder is also armed. What is one semi-logical action after that is for that person to start shooting through the walls towards the sound and try to possibly escape, possibly not, who knows. Don't rely on psychology. Rely only on facts and the locations where actually humans go offline. And those are the three locations: brain, brainstem, upper spine. They're very small. Well, head is not the smallest. I mean, head, brain is the biggest of the three. So, and of course, neck is kind of a part of the upper chest region in my books. And so, what I train people to do, and what I have trained to do, is attack what I call the upper triangle, from the head down to the shoulders and back. So it is sort of a kind of a triangle, or you can think of it also as kind of like a flashlight looking target area. So it's the narrow part, both sides of the nose, down to the chest and down. I mean, all the way to the spine. Because of course you'll take a spine hit lower than the neck if you score one. You take any hit or no hits. I mean, that's just a fact. But let's be realistic. That the hit that you thought that will cause an instant death, and I've heard this many times, and don't, I'm sure you have too. But there are people who are like, well, you just, shoot the guy with a 45 because it has knockdown power and all that. Just shoot them in a center of mass a couple of times and they're done. That is absolute bullshit. Uh, really, I know occasions where people have been hit with the handgun calibers in their center of mass over 10 times, and they remained operational after that, and didn't die at the end either. So there's this, we're actually quite well designed as humans, so let's keep that in mind. We don't just die just like that, especially with the handgun calibers. And now we need to make a distinction that if we talk about rifle calibers, it's a different ballgame. Because in rifle calibers, a new factor enters into the play, which is called hydraulic or hydrostatic shock. And you hear this from people all the time that, well, you shoot them with this pistol round and it causes, or this bullet will cause a hydrostatic shock. Hydrostatic shock is related to velocity, not how the bullet is manufactured or how it expands or does whatever. It doesn't matter. Hydrostatic shock is directly related to velocity. It cares none how the bullet is manufactured. Is it a hollow point? Is it a full metal jacket? That plays almost no part in this game. It is all a velocity game, and so I will talk about the rifle calibers and hydraulic shock more in a different video. But this is just to set the realistic tone on what really happens when a human being gets hit with a handgun caliber bullet. And these are the facts. And I know this kind of comes as a surprise to a lot of people. I get it all the time. When I train people, I get the blank stare. What? So my 45 8+1 is not going to get me out of this deal unless I hit somebody in the head. And yeah, I mean, if you look for an instant incapacitation, yes, you do need to hit that target in either upper spine, brainstem, brain. Those are your options. Not saying that a psychological effect is not there. It is there, but don't rely on it, because Mr. Murphy is extremely keen person, and will wake up when you're in that shit hits the fan situation, and will throw a guy at you who is high on PCP, is just one of those people who just won't succumb to pain. I mean, a very determined individual. That's going to happen when you're in trouble, right? So therefore, that's not a strategy, that's not tactics by any means. Do not rely on some bullet being bigger but it's slower, like 45, or bullet being bigger and fast, the medium, the middleman there, 40 cal, versus 9mm, because they all get the job done. So really seriously, pick the one that you can shoot well. The other thing is that for me, my choice for sidearm is 9mm. And the reason being that I do get the maximum number of chances to score a hit that makes a difference. So I'm looking at the magazine capacity. The recoil is not a problem for me. I actually shoot, in all honesty, I shoot better with a 45 than I shoot with a 9mm. But when you are in a situation, a life and death situation, that flies out the window. The lane shooting and shooting groupings and all that, it plays almost no role. I'm not saying completely it doesn't, but really your best bet is get yourself the most chances to hit with a caliber that gets the job done, whether it's a 380, 9mm, 40, 45. I personally don't care, but consider that you have as many opportunities to score a hit that matters, which means magazine capacity. Consider a caliber that you can control, and you can put rounds into a general area of size of the, think about a triangle from your forehead to your shoulders, and be able to do that, moving, laying down, fleeing, advancing, around the corner. I mean, just practice the weirdest positions that you can imagine, because that's where the shit hits the fan. The attacks hardly ever come straight to you from your 12 o'clock, so to speak. They come from sides. They come from from 6 o'clock, from behind you. So you got to practice what I call instinctive shooting, which is different than your lane shooting. You can be super good, no doubt. Just standing there, legs shoulder wide, pointing straight at, no pressure, and put the rounds into a sizable quarter from 7 yards. That's no problem. Now, do that same thing in a rain dark alleyway, slipping on trash, being chased, being attacked, possibly having rounds hitting your vicinity, and now do the same. Put those rounds in a quarter sized spot 7 yards out. Ain't happening. Therefore, you need to learn instinctive shooting, and that is what I teach to my trainees, how to do that, because it is a different skill. And then there is the fact that that is hard to teach, which is how people behave under real life and death situation. And that is just unfortunately something that you will fully understand the first time you're in that situation. And there are no real indications either, or ways to test somebody, if they are, how they will behave in that situation. So, but let's just forget and assume that everybody can actually use their mind, and we can train stress management to people with various techniques that are actually safe, and they will still get your RPMs going up, which is exactly what we want to do, because in a life and death situation, your body is going really fast, and your vision gets tunneled and everything like that. And we can definitely simulate that, but like I said, do not rely on that either, because really, in all honesty, only the real deal will tell you how you will behave, and how things are going to play out. But all that said, let's just check make sure you check the slides that I posted, or pictures I posted, and the rationale, and hopefully you will find somebody in your vicinity who can train you in the actual art of gunfighting, because it is vastly different, again, like I said, than the lane shooting. The lane shooting is great for basics and getting kind of like the basic stuff down, and get comfortable with your platform, so you can manipulate it in dark and having one arm gone and stuff like that. So absolutely, practice with the platform you're going to carry, not just with any. Don't pick up a different pistol and different caliber every weekend. No. Please shoot with the one that you're going to carry, and pick your weapon or tool, like I call it. It's actually priority 3. So priority 1 is your mindset. If you can't pull the trigger, you're done. Priority 2 is your skills, and your skills, and not in lane shooting, not on just in a happy and relaxed environment, but under absolute stress. And then your priority 3 is your tool. Pick the right caliber for you. Pick the right pistol for you. And then practice with it. Practice reloading. Practice loading a magazine. Practice switching hands. Practice all of that. Practice shooting in different stances. Standing, prone, kneeling, lying down, laying on your back. I mean, it's just shooting to an awkward angle, because you do need to get the fire on the target as soon as possible when stuff starts happening. The winner in a realistic gunfight is the one who gets the first shot out, and who keeps the volume of fire on the target. And to do that, you need capacity. You need more rounds. And this is I'm a fairly trained shooter, so I could be just like, oh, I don't need 8 rounds for an assailant, or more than 8 rounds. However, it's just so stupid, tactically thinking to do that I will never do that. I will take, still, no matter how good I am, or how good you are, pick the platform that gives you the most rounds, because you just don't know. Is it just one assailant? Is it multiples? Why limit yourself? Don't let your pride get you killed, and also don't let the dead man kill you. And I'm saying that because if you shoot your target into the center of mass, they'll have plenty of time to hurt you. It's guaranteed. Handguns are weak. Keep that in mind. There are no handguns. I mean, don't hug your 45 ACP now, and rest assured that just because it's called knockdown power man stopper. By the way, the force in 45, there's no such thing as knockdown. There's no such thing as it's an old wives' tales. It's a myth, because do the physics. I mean, just if you can't do the math on the energies involved, then ask your friendly physics student from somewhere to explain to you how much force is in 45 caliber slug hitting just a normal sized male, 5'9", 180 pounds, and how much it actually moves that person, because it doesn't move that person anywhere. It doesn't even flinch that person force-wise. So let's get those things straight, and now just the takeaway for you: get a platform you can handle. You can handle the recoil. Get a platform that gets you the most chances to hit where it counts. Remember that humans only stop instantaneously from 3 locations. Upper neck, you have to sever the spine, by the way. Upper neck, brainstem, and brain, and that's it. And that's where your instant incapacitation comes, and instant threat elimination. Nowhere else will that happen. And even in a upper spine, they might be paralyzed neck down, but don't put your hand in their mouth, because they can still bite. So just remember that we don't drop like in the Hollywood movies at all. We're actually far more resilient creatures than we're given credit by the fantastic writers in Hollywood, and unfortunately they have tainted a lot of people's minds. Also, the anti-gunners, they watch these Hollywood movies and they think it's a person picks up a pistol and they literally just, with one high capacity magazine, they just go around and just kill as many people as they have rounds in that magazine, which is just the farthest from the truth, because you still have to hit. You don't want to get hit anywhere. I mean, I'm not saying that, but let's be realistic. You know, so go out there and check the facts that I posted about the handgun calibers, and go get yourself some good training with somebody who. Also, I would recommend finding a person who has been in a firefight before, so they actually know what they're talking about. It's worth more than gold if you get that arranged. There are a lot of veterans now, so please reach out, get somebody to come and teach you. All right, please leave some notes below. I'll be happy to answer them either way, either in support or against. I'll provide enough evidence for the naysayers that hopefully it will change your view on handgun calibers and the lethality of them. All right, stay safe out there, and this is the regular guy. I'll be back soon for more. All right, take care.